Matthew Novogratz to the show. He is the Senior Vice President, Head of Partnerships and Business Developments of Candy Digital. Matt's responsible for business development and overseeing the company's relationships with both league partners and athletes. He's a lifelong trading card collector. He's a crypto enthusiast, and this role provides him a unique opportunity to explore combining sports with digital assets and the underlying tech. So, Matthew, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad that we get a chance to talk today. We're talking a little bit before the show. I am familiar with NFTs. I'm familiar with Candy and kind of the relationships that you've had over these last couple of years, but I'm not yet an avid NFT owner or an avid customer. So I'm glad that we're able to connect a little bit here and talk a little bit more about Candy and what Candy does. You mentioned, or it mentioned in your bio that you are a lifelong collector. Tell me a little bit about your collecting background.
Yeah, it's funny. I've really always been a collector, even as like a very little kid. Like it started with probably Star Wars figures. And I guess every kid had Star Wars, but I always made sure to like collect everyone, flip over the box, cross them off. Like it was my first checklist. And I would do that within He-Man and G.I. Joe. And I made sure they stayed in good shape. And I see the hacksaw picture behind you. Also WWF figures. And later in life, I got into collecting them mint on card. I wish I kept some of those. Turned into a very expensive habit. But so I was always into collecting. And then around 10, I was introduced really to, I guess, for my older brothers, into baseball cards. And I started showing a real interest. So I started collecting everything I could. I'm from the DC area, huge Orioles fan. So Cal Ripken was really in his prime then. So that was where I really first started. And it's never stopped. I've been collecting my whole life. And with starting Candy, it's really given me a great excuse to dive deep back into it. So there's not a week that goes by that I don't have a large box or two coming from eBay.
What cards do you collect today, or what's your collection look like today from a card perspective?
It's a bit of everything. Like Bowman Chrome is my favorite current stuff. Like I love prospects. Being an Orioles fan, you kind of have to. I love vintage. So got my first Jackie Robinson card a few years ago. And then being 44 and growing up in the era I did, all the cards that I never was able to get as a kid are not relatively cheap now. So I love going back and loading up on the 86 Canseco Donruss rookie, which was the envy of everybody growing up. So I've got like 100 of those, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but they put a smile on my face every time.
Yeah, we're in that same window. I'm 45, and so 86 to kind of the mid 90s was my sweet spot too. And so 86 was the first year I started collecting. So all of those cards that you just mentioned are kind of right in my wheelhouse.
I don't think people realize like the cultural phenomenon that 86 Donruss rated rookie was. Like it was crazy. I remember like the first one I got. I remember like the exact currency that I had to trade for it. There was a Frank Viola rookie mixed in with a Doc Gooden and a Darryl Strawberry. It turns out I think I might have got ripped off in the end, but it was a big day for me.
Yeah, it's something else. I had a chance to meet Jose a couple years ago. He came through and did kind of a weekend stint with our local minor league team here, and so I was doing some work with the team at the time and got a chance to meet him and have a brief conversation. But he is still, even with this heat coming in, now, and this whole crop of young players who many of them weren't even born yet at the point where he was a superstar. They still had an awe and respect for him and the legend that he became. So yeah, Jose and that 86 Donruss was something else.
Yeah, and players just in general back then felt all kind of like superheroes. From that 86 Mets team was full of them. And then Bo Jackson, of course. Like it felt like maybe it's just we see things differently when it's our youth and you look back and everything's rosier, but it felt like just an incredible time to grow up in the collecting era.
So you are now, you've grown up, you are now at Candy. Can you give listeners a feel for how does Candy work? What are these products? How does it work when you go onto Candy and start to explore the idea of buying a digital collectible?
Sure. So, I mean, it's not a ton, like for starters, it's not a ton different than buying a regular pack of baseball cards. Our three core products are Icons, which is our digital trading card, highlights and tickets, but I'll focus on icons because it's as close as you'll get to ripping packs. This season, once a month, we'll be dropping packs. We have one coming up very soon called Showstoppers. It'll come out. There'll be rarities. It'll feel very much like if you were to buy a pack of Bowman Chrome. The difference is there'll be music, there'll be video, the stats will update. They'll be mixed in games that are challenges that you'll be able to play throughout the year with them. But if you just want to look at them as a collectible, it's very similar to the traditional cardboard experience. Now, you don't have to send them into PSA to get graded, which is one of the nice things. You kind of know that they're not going to get bent. You know what the population is, and it provides a chance to connect with other collectors through Discord and other online means.
So you've got a Discord group there. What about, buying, selling, trading? You mentioned ripping a pack of new drops as they come out. What about for players that you've already opened, or the prior products that you've already ripped? Is there a way to buy or sell or trade them amongst other collectors too?
For sure. We've got a pretty robust secondary market that is open 24 hours a day. We started with our first release back in the 2021 season. So that's kind of our Genesis set with the 21 All-Star set, speaking to icons. And those are traded every day. Now, the other cool thing is if you're a holder from some of our older collectibles, there'll be challenges that you can use them on all throughout this season, which then unlock other digital rewards, potentially physical and in real life experiences, whether that's going to games, possibly a player meet and greet. So we're kind of constantly looking back to past releases and seeing how we can bring those forward and keep you engaged with them.
We've talked a little bit about baseball so far, but from what I understand, that's not the only league or relationship that you guys are in partnership with. I believe you also have agreement and some partnerships with Getty, WWE, NASCAR, Netflix. What are some of those other products that you offer today outside of MLB?
Yeah, we're actually live in market right now with Getty Images. Really cool series featuring some of the rock icons of the 70s. It's a chance to get some of these incredible collectibles out into the world. With WWE, it's been a really fun partnership. As much as I love baseball, I love WWE probably just as much. So for me, it's been an incredible experience. It's relatively new, but we've done a collection around The Undertaker, around Shawn Michaels. Some of the cool in real life experiences we've done with that. The winner of who came out of essentially was a raffle with The Undertaker, got a chance to meet him and have a drink with him, which was pretty cool. The Shawn Michaels legendary holder got to spend a day with them. So it's offered us a lot of really cool experiences. With NASCAR, we had a legendary winner who had a chance to ride around with Richard Petty one day at his house, which is as about as once in a lifetime as it gets. So these different partnerships really give us opportunities to kind of scratch whatever itch you have if you're into collectibles, if you're into pop culture. So we're super excited.
In your bio, you mentioned being the lifelong card collector, and this idea of combining sports card collecting and digital assets is something that I want to explore a little bit more, because I think it's one of those things that traditional collectors have a hard time connecting. They have a hard time maybe seeing that relationship between collecting a digital asset and collecting a tangible physical asset. You talked about how opening one of these packs of digital cards is very similar. You're just seeing it on the screen. But how do you, I guess what I'd say is there are some people that feel like I'm either going to be all physical or all digital. And why would you ever do physical? But do you see, maybe some kind of hybrid or relationship between the digital collectible and physical collectibles?
I mean, I think there has to be. Certainly, you need to bring those worlds together. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. What we're doing is super complementary to the physical collecting world. Like as I said, with the ability to you instantly have a grade and a rarity that you don't have to send in. Um, and you have the chance to burn cards to release new rarities, and it's a fun experience. It doesn't mean you need to stop collecting physical. It also has a chance to unlock physical rewards. Whether, like, we had a guy who won he got a Dodgers championship ring when they won. We constantly looking ways to tie the physical and bring the physical world back in, but we also believe that a digital world is not going away, right? Like, I look at my 9-year-old son who plays Roblox with every free moment he has. So, like, it's people are spending an hour more a day on their online than they did 5 years ago. So this is not going away, but it doesn't mean one's better than the other.
When we talk about NFTs, there's that collectible nature of it, but there's also oftentimes some kind of a functionality or a utility aspect of NFTs as well. And that was one of the things that I wanted to hit on. And you've already kind of introduced this idea that with some of the different rarities of the products that you've released, there is a kind of a physical meet and greet component, or the potential option to maybe redeem a certain achievement that you've obtained digitally for a physical item. I wanted to talk a little bit more about how you see that combination of both collectability and that functional or utility aspect of things as well, because I think that's one of the things that can help make that case for why these are a fun opportunity to collect, or something that's worth pursuing. And so, can you talk a little bit more about ideas that you guys have been exploring on how to implement some functionality and utility into these digital collectibles that we can buy?
Yeah, Mike, that's a great question. And it's something that we spend an incredible amount of time on. In the past, it was generally through almost a golden ticket type. You end up pulling a legendary, or you got a special reward. But we've really been trying hard to reward those that have been our earliest adopters, or our biggest collectors. So we're introducing something new this season through these campaigns, where there'll be different challenges where you can use what you already hold to complete these challenges, or you could go to the secondary market and buy more. As you do this, you'll accrue points. With those points, they can unlock different experiences, different rewards. We see that as a pretty exciting and differentiating aspect to what we're doing here. And some of the rewards we have planned are exciting. They're going to be meet and greets. They're going to be token gated online chats with players. It could be tickets to a game. But yeah, it's spot on, and it's what we need to focus on. It's what we have been focusing on.
Yeah, it seems like that is one of those opportunities that can really set digital collectibles apart, right? Is because you are able to combine both that digital side of things as well as that physical side of things. What about from a utility perspective, as far as, do you have, you mentioned you've got your digital card, there's maybe some video components or stat audio components, things that go into that. Do you have to go onto the Candy platform or the Candy site to be able to experience that? Or is there ways that if I've got my digital card of Cody Bellinger, that I can share that on social media, or I can turn that into my avatar for Twitter or whatever it might be? Are there ways to kind of share that digital asset outside of the platform itself?
Sure. It's a great question. Right now, your best experiences within Candy. There are ways to share outside of Candy, but it's something that we're working hard to improve on. We want to get it more shareable, but the best experience for your stats will update will happen on Candy, and that's where the bulk of the activity is going on.
Well, baseball season is just around the corner. Opening day is coming up soon. You mentioned a couple of the MLB products coming out. How many different releases of products do you anticipate that we see throughout 2023?
We'll be doing a pack release once a month. Weekly, we'll be doing plays of the week, which will be pretty exciting. So it'll be the top 10 plays of the week, and that'll come in pack forms with different rarities. The cool thing about those will be the epics won't just be like, it won't be the same play. Just the most epic plays of the week will be epics, which is pretty exciting. We'll feature the All-Star game. We'll do something with the Hall of Fame. That was one of my favorite releases we did last year. It's a great way to teach a new generation about some of these players. Even me, I had no idea that Bob Feller debuted at 17. He was like just in high school. So that's a great opportunity. But it's going to be highlights, packs. And then tickets is something we had some great success with last year. We did it in a more measured approach around big tentpole events and kind of the players' numbers getting retired, the All-Star Game, the World Series. But we see that as a great onboarding tool, so we hope to expand that to a broader set of games throughout the year.
Very cool. Is there anything else that you want the audience to know about Candy before we go today?
Yeah, I would just say give us a chance. Pick a team you love, buy a team pack. We're going to be introducing this game called Code Breakers based around the team packs. It's going to be an entry-level priced item. If you're a Tigers fan, go buy a couple of Tigers packs and play along. It'll give you a chance to learn about the system, meet some people, possibly upgrade your cards. I think you'll find that it's a welcoming community. And as I said, if you like collecting baseball cards, like this is just kind of a more seamless way to collect baseball cards. So give us a shot. I think you'll enjoy it.
If somebody wants to explore what you've got going on, if they want to learn a little bit more, this world of digital collectibles can be a little bit overwhelming for some, traditional collectors. If somebody that wants to go out there, learn more, explore what you've got going on, what's the best way for them to connect with Candy and what's going on at Candy?
Yeah, so go to candy.com, check us out on Twitter. And you know what, if somebody wants to contact us directly, reference this podcast, we'll get them a team pack to get them started if they want to sign up for an account. So yeah, I think it's as I said, it's a very welcome community. Give us a shot.
Very cool. I appreciate that, and I'm sure the listeners will as well. Thanks again
Awesome.
for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.